Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video on Tuesday the 5th of February. It's a pretty turbulent pattern as we head towards the weekend. Some deep areas of low pressure are moving in from the Atlantic. Mountain temperatures generally staying cold. There'll be some snow and some hail on some days. Bit of a lift in temperature on Friday focused on England and Wales, and then colder air comes back round from the northwest as we go through the weekend. The hints into next week suggest that high pressure will build towards or across the British Isles. So the suggestion of something quieter further ahead. We'll come to those charts in a moment, starting off with temperatures, and this is the 850 millibar level. Again, as always, that's at around 1200 to 1400 metres, 4 to 4,500 feet in the atmosphere, giving us that steer for temperatures on the high tops. This is through, well, later today, and it shows the wedge of warmer air. That's a warm sector that's come through during Tuesday. Chillier air is back in as a colder air mass from the North Atlantic, a polar maritime air mass, moves across the country through into Wednesday. So we're sub-zero again on the higher tops, and it'll stay that way through Wednesday night and onwards into Thursday as well, with temperatures around -3, -4 on the very highest tops in Scotland. As we go forwards through Thursday into Friday, milder air then starts to come back from the southwest as a warm front pushes northwards. Some uncertainty how far that gets into Scotland. It may still not quite make it into the Highlands, so keeping things cold with any precipitation coming in falling as snow. The warm air though moves across England and Wales briefly. By the time we go through into Saturday though, it looks as though colder air is back around from the northwest, and progressively through the weekend, if we run the story on, you'll see how much colder air topples back in from the north-northwest through into Sunday, and that likely to continue into Monday too. So a good couple of days again of some very cold temperatures on the mountains. Let's run you through the synoptic charts for these next few days then. For Wednesday, we've got a trailing front which is across the far south of England. That's not bothering the mountain areas. It's a story of showers that are across the western coasts. Now in Scotland, a trough that's just across the West Highlands will move eastwards through the day to give some more organised snow showers, merging during the afternoon to almost constant snow for a couple of hours, and that'll fall down to almost sea level, I would have thought, and gradually extend further towards the eastern side of the Highlands later. A few bits and pieces of showers around the west coast of England and Wales, but for many it's a decent day. Notice away towards the southwest of Ireland a developing feature. That's one of these little small secondary centres of low pressure. If you were watching the previous video on Friday, we were talking about those being a complication in the second half of this week. And that will move its way quickly east and northeastwards across the country through Wednesday night into Thursday to be centred out over the North Sea by Thursday daytime. The wraparound of a front, though, could well give a few hours of fresh snow down to quite low levels across the Highlands, even the Lakes and Pennines early on Thursday, clearing out of the way, followed by some heavy showers coming in from the west, again frequent around the coast, some hail, snow to low levels, and the risk of an isolated rumble of thunder and gusty winds in place as well. Just watch your details for Thursday. Some uncertainty just how quickly that front will clear away towards the east. Now things are quite mobile, and the next fronts come steaming in from the Atlantic through into Friday, with a warm front pushing slowly northwards into Scotland. The timing of this is somewhat uncertain. Again, it may well be that the cold air across Scotland stays in place, so there's the risk of some snow setting in from the southwest, only slowly reaching the northern side of the Highlands. Meanwhile, for England and Wales, with much milder air moving in here, it's likely to all fall as rain, and that could be pretty heavy across the Western Lake District and Snowdonia, where rain could well set in much of the day. So just watch for streams rising quickly, where there's been some snow melt too, becoming very wet underfoot. Stormy winds too within this area of low pressure. The focus of these for Friday seems to be England and Wales, with Wales perhaps the focus of the very strongest of the gales, 70-80 miles per hour or more over the mountains. Scotland may be slower to see that increase of wind at this stage. But by the time we get through into Saturday, as that low passes eastwards into the North Sea, the wraparound of it drags in a west-northwesterly, which could widely be severe gale force across the mountains. We're back into a chillier air mass as a cold front has cleared eastwards, so it's the story of showers, maybe some organised falls of snow and some hail coming in across western and northwestern regions across Scotland, and as well across western coasts of England and Wales. Those could be quite squally, moving through quickly, but giving sudden whiteout conditions on the mountains. Again, the precise detail a little bit uncertain through the weekend. It looks as though by Sunday, as we mentioned, that the colder air is coming back round on more of a northerly. A little secondary area of low pressure again might be moving its way across the south of England and Wales. Some uncertainty, of course, with that one. Again, it's a story of showers of snow and hail draped around the coast in the north and the west of Scotland. Maybe a few for England and Wales. These might just tend to fade as pressure eventually builds a little bit. And that story of pressure building is, I think, where we'll go into next week. This is the bigger picture then, which shows you temperatures at middle layers in the atmosphere and the surface pressure on the white isobars. Starting off late Sunday with that north-northwesterly flow. Higher pressure then centred between the Azores and Iberia starts to build its way towards the British Isles. And initially, a cold northwesterly flow will be around. Maybe as we go on a few days into next week, that turns more towards the southwest. The exact position of the centre of this high will then be critical in terms of just what air mass is drawn in and whether any weak fronts are still around. I think any weather systems are more likely to be steered towards the northwest of Scotland, so there may be just low cloud and some drizzle, patchy snow maybe at times across western mountains, but for many it looks as though it's a much quieter week with dry conditions prevailing, some low-level fog and low cloud, maybe inversion conditions getting in once again with this situation of high pressure building in. Temperatures, I suspect, with time lift gradually above freezing. We could go into what we'd call alpine conditions almost, where we go above freezing by a couple of degrees during the day and we then refreeze things overnight, so keeping some consolidation of a snowpack on the higher mountains. Some indications as we go towards the later stages of the week take high pressure a bit more towards Scandinavia and Central Eastern Europe, and maybe just put us more into a southeasterly airstream. This chart doesn't really give that detail as such, but just a few hints that we're starting to turn the airflow to more of a continental source rather than off the Atlantic, and if that happens we might just get some drier air and less in the way of cloud. It looks as though that high pressure will be nearby at the very least through the middle part of the month, and compared to this week, stopping weather systems coming in from the Atlantic. As always, things open to some question once we go further ahead, but those are the general trends as we head towards the middle of the month. Stay up to date with your latest local 3-day forecast updated every single day on our website, and we'll update the video again for you on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.